Hello all of you, myself Dr. Sonam Gupta. I am Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, and today I am going to discuss about the topic JavaScript program, which is in web designing. So as we all know that what is JavaScript, it is a scripting language which is used in web pages. So today I am going to discuss about some of the complex topics in the JavaScript programs. JavaScript program, the most important thing is the function which comes in it. As we know, what is a function? So basically, function means that we are providing some data which is to be processed in some code, and instead of writing that code again and again, we are creating a function. Now what will happen, whenever we want that same task to be done, we will just simply call that function. Now for example, if I have to, for example, add two numbers, so what I will do, I'll write a code snippet to add the two numbers. Now again, if I want to add those two numbers, I again will write the code snippet. Instead of that, I'll create a function which is going to add two numbers, and when and where required, I will be calling those functions and the code will be rewritten. So a JavaScript function, it is defined with the keyword function. So this function, this is the keyword which is used. As we know that what is a keyword? Basically a keyword, like this is a keyword over here. This function, this will work as a keyword. What is a keyword? Keyword are the reserved words which are used in the JavaScript functions. Acha, ye pen. Which are used in the JavaScript function, and by the function name, after the function, the name of the function will be written, like it will be if I write over here function, after that function name will be given. Okay, and after this function name, parenthesis will come. So this will be followed by this parenthesis. What will include in this parenthesis? In this parenthesis, the parameters will be included which will be passed to that function. After this, we will be having the curly braces, and this curly braces, the whole code for this particular function will be written. So the function name, it can contain any of the thing, like it can have the letter, it can have the digits, along with this it can have the underscore, dollar sign. Basically, the rules for writing the name of the function, it is similar to writing the name of the variable. Like how we are declaring the variables, the same rule will be applicable to these functions as well. After this, the parenthesis, it will include the parameter names. So parameter name like parameter 1, 2, there is no limit to give the number of parameters. We can give the number of parameters as and when required. So basically, this is the syntax of the function which is to be required. Like first, the keyword function will be there. After that, the name of the function by which we want to create that function name will be there. Parenthesis will be included, and in this parenthesis, these parameters will be passed on. After these parameters, this code will be written, that what will be the function or what will be the task that this particular function will be performing. So this is the basic syntax of the function. Like the code to be executed, as I have discussed, it will be included in this curly braces. So if I have to see what is the total syntax of a function, like function, keyword, this function is a keyword as we had already discussed. This name, this is the name of the function, this is a function name. After this function name, parameters will be given. In this parameters, like parameter 1, parameter 2, any number of parameters we can give in it, and finally the code which is to be executed. So this is how a particular function is to be declared. Now coming to all these parameters one by one, like function parameters. So what are the function parameters? These are the names which are listed in the function name. Like if I am declaring two parameters, that means the function is expecting that whenever we are calling that particular function, two parameters will be passed. Okay, and the function arguments, they are the real values which will be received when the function is invoked. So function arguments will be passed, these will be passed as and when we will be calling those particular functions. Inside the function, the arguments are used as the local variables. Inside that particular function, arguments are there, and those will be called as the local variables. This is a function definition inside a JavaScript. Like if I want to declare function inside a JavaScript program, for that the script type will be written, this keyword script will be written in it. type which will be showing text slash JavaScript. Now, what is the meaning of this text slash JavaScript? The meaning of that either it can be a text or it can be a JavaScript. If the browser is not supporting JavaScript, it will be treated as a text. So, this is the meaning, and by this script, we are telling the browser that the script is to be written for this particular web page. This syntax, this is known as the comment. This is for the comment. Then we are declaring a function display. After that, we are closing these comments, and this script is to be closed. So, this is the opening tag of the script, and this is the closing tag of this particular script. So, this is how it will be treated. Now, what will happen in this? The web page will not be treating it as a simple function, it will be treating it as a comment. Next comes the events. What are the events? Events are the things that happen and the actions which are associated with an object. Like if I am pressing a key, that is an event. So, what will happen after pressing that particular key? Some or more actions will be performed. So, that is an object, and what are the actions performed? That will be termed as an event. Nextly, we are having various types of events like on load, on unload, on mouse over, on mouse out, on submit, and on click. So, these are the various events that will be happening. Like on load it occurs when a page will load in a browser. Whenever suppose I am writing www.google.com, so whenever that page is loading, that means on load function or the event is being taken care of. Next is the on unload, that means whenever the user will exit from a page, that will become unload. Next one, on mouse over, like whenever we are pointing a mouse to an object, that becomes a mouse over. Mouse out, that means whenever we are taking away the mouse from the object, it becomes a mouse over. On submit, whenever we are submitting a form, that becomes on submit. And finally, on click, whenever we are clicking on an object, it becomes an on click event. So, these are the various types of the events. Apart from this, there are various other events as well. Like as you see, we are having various types of events, and along with this, we are having object. Like on load, it will happen on the body object. On unload, it will happen on again the body language body. On mouse over, on the link and the button. Like if I place the mouse over the link, then also mouse over will happen, and if I click over a button, then also mouse over will happen. Similarly, mouse out, it will happen on both link and the button. On submit for the form, and on click, it will happen on various things like the button, checkbox, submit, reset, link. These are the various types of the things on which this particular event can take place. Now, let's see some of the HTML event example. We will be having some 3 example, like an HTML web page which has finished loading. Next one, HTML input field whenever it was changed, and an HTML button whenever it was clicked. Like on change. Now, how we are going to write these events and how we are going to handle all these events. For this, the syntax for the script will be same as we are writing the HTML code. Like for the HTML code, we are having a HTML tag, we are having a body tag. Same will be there. Now, what I am doing over here, we are having a text box here. So, to make the text box, as we have discussed in the earlier videos as well, we will be having an input type which will be of the type text. The name of the text box will be there. So, this is suppose txt, value is there, suppose hello, and on change function is there, on change event is there. On change event, what will do? Whenever on change event will happen, it will call this function my function, and this is the parameter, this dot value which is being passed to it. So, what will happen? Whenever this on change event will come, this function will be called, which is termed as the my function. That means we are making a script which is having this my function. So, now we are going to open a script tag. For this, script tag will be open. In the script tag, function my function will be called. This is same function which has been declared, and val will be there. What is this val? Val is the argument to this parameter. Okay. Now, we are having an alert box. What will be the function of the alert box? And whenever change will be there, alert box will appear, and the output will be the input value has changed, and the new value is whatever the value we will pass in the input text, that will be visible. And this script tag is closed, after this body tag is closed, and this HTML will be closed. Now, let us see what will be the output whenever we will be running this particular code. Now, when we will run this code, this will be the output. This will enter some text. Suppose we have written hell. So alert message will be there. Since we are changing this hello to, we have removed O. So this alert box will come and it will show the input value has changed and the new value is hell. This is how this particular alert will work, and this is how on change event will work. Okay. Now let's see further how this on click event will happen. Again, we are having a script over here, script tag for the JavaScript, and this function inform function. In this inform function, we are having an alert box which is printing some message like you have activated me by clicking the gray button, and note that the event handler is added within the event, which will handle in this case the form button event tag. Now here form button will be there, input type, it is the button type, input type is given it as a button, name of the button, it is the text, and the value is click me. Now let's see what will happen when output will be given. A button will be visible which is having the value click me. See here what was there on the button, the value on the button was click me, that means click me will be visible over the button. So here will be the output, click me will be there, type was button, so the output was of a button type. Now if I am going to click this event, like if I am going to click this button, then an alert box should appear. Let's see this code. Whenever we are having this button on click event, we are calling this inform function. Now what will happen, whenever I will click this button, this inform function will be called, and what is this inform function? This is the same function this will be called. So that means an alert message will appear. So this is the same output, alert will come, message from the web page, and you have activated me by clicking the gray button. Note that the event handler is added within the event, which will be handled in that case the form button event tag, and this is the OK. So whenever we will press this OK, this alert message will be gone. So this is how this alert will work and on click will work. Next is the on submit. For the on submit, again on submit is an event. So we can have either way, like if I want to include a head, then it's well and good. If I do not want to include a head, then also it's okay. So HTML head tag is there, in the head tag script tag will be there. Script type is equal to text/JavaScript, which we have discussed earlier as well. Okay, so here we are having a form validation, all validation where it will go, and again the head tag will be closed, the body tag will be open. Form method, this is the method get on post. On submit, we will return the validate function, this is return validation function, it is the same validate function which will be called, and input type text button value is equal to submit. So whenever we will be calling it on submit, all these functions will take place. Next is the on load. For the on load, whenever the page will be loading, this will be called. So on load, as we have discussed, on load will happen in the body tag. So in the body tag, on load, alert will be there, this page has finished loading and welcome to my page. So whenever the page will be loaded, this on load event will take place. This is how it will happen. So welcome to my page. So this was written over here, welcome to my page, in the body tag itself. As we know that in HTML, whatever is written in the body tag, it will be visible on the web page as it is. Okay. So this welcome to my page, it will be given. This is how it is given over here, and this message, it is coming, since on load we are having it as an alert. So this is it will display it as an alert box. So in alert, it is giving this page has finished loading, and this will be the output which will be given whenever the page will load. So this is the message from the body, and this is the alert box from the function. Next is on mouse over. On mouse over means like whenever I am having a text and I am giving a mouse over to that particular text, I am placing my mouse over that text. So again, HTML head JavaScript, this is same as we are seeing from many examples. Now suppose function over I have created and document.write mouse over. So document.write, what will happen? It will function similar to a print function that is to be done. The script tag will be closed over here, head tag and body tag will open. In the p tag is the paragraph tag. In this, it will be written, bring your mouse inside the division to see the result, division, heading tag, body tag and HTML tag. Here on mouse over, this is a particular function which will be called, and it will be calling this function over. Let's see the output. This will be the web page which will be visible. So bring your mouse inside the division to see the result. This is same as the p tag. In the p tag we had given this, p is for paragraph tag. This is inside the division. This is what? This is the heading tag which is being given. So, whenever the mouse will be over, the mouse over will be given, mouse dot right, and it will write mouse over. This will be the output. So, whenever I will be placing the mouse over that particular paragraph, this mouse over message will be called. This is not being displayed as an alert, since see in this code, this mouse over is being printed as a document dot write. Document dot write means another web page, it will be printing like we are using the print syntax. So, what will happen? It will call another web page and it will just print. So, this is for document dot write. This is happening because of document dot write. Okay. Now, instead of document dot write, if I use this alert, what will happen? In this itself, it will be showing an alert box and then it will be giving the message. If I use alert, in that case, the output will be this. But if I am using document dot write, in that case, the output will come like this. Next one, on reset. Reset means whenever the form will be reset. Similarly, on reset, this on reset function will be called, and my function is being called. My function, this is the function which is being made in the JavaScript, and alert will call that the form was reset. Now, let's see the output of this code. When you reset, the form of function is triggered which alerts some text. So, where it was visible, it was printed in the p tag. In p tag, it was given in the body tag. So, as we know that whatever is written in the body tag, that will come as it is on the web page. So, on the body tag, it will come as when you reset, the form of function is triggered. So, it will be displayed. So, this is the message which was in the p tag. After this, enter name. So, let us see where it was. Enter name, it was in the input type text. So, that means a text box will be visible. So, similarly, a text box is being over here, input type, and before that enter name is there, it will be working as a label for this text box. So, enter name will be visible as it is. After that, input type is a text box. So, a text box is visible. After this text box, input type is equal to reset. There are two types of automatic buttons like reset and submit. If I write input type is equal to submit, button will be created and submit will be written over here. Now, if I am writing input type is equal to reset, a button will be visible, on that reset will be given. Then the form tag is closed. So, here this reset is because of this input type. Okay. Now, what will happen? Whenever I will be clicking this reset, this alert message will be visible. Let us see. Reset form and this input function on form reset. That means, whenever I will be clicking this reset, this function, my function will be called. And what is in this my function? In this my function, we are just having an alert box which is printing the form was reset. That's it. So, this is the output. P tag message, enter name label, the text box and the reset button. Reset button has been clicked and this input alert message is visible. So, this is how the events and the functions will work. Next important topic which comes in JavaScript, it is the form validation. Like as we know that we create the passwords. So, how do the web page know that the password which we have created, it consists of a $ or it consists of a capital letter, special character, etc. So, that all these comes under form validation. So, basically form validation, it occur at the server side. So, it is to occur at server, and after the client had entered all the necessary details and it pressed the submit button, then this validation takes place. So, this is how a form validation is. So, for this we are having various validation process, like I can have that whether the input value in the text box, it is of size 20 or not. So, all these comes under this form validation. So, JavaScript in form validation, it is of two types like basic validation and data format validation. So, JavaScript provides a way to validate the form's data on the client's computer before sending it to the web page, and the form validation, it is basically is of two types, the basic validation and the data format validation. Now, first comes the basic validation. Basic validation means we are going to check all the mandatory fields are filled in or not, and we require a look through each of the field and then we check for the data. Like if I am having a form which consists of 10 suppose text box. So I have to check that basically all the required text box has been filled or not, like name, university roll number. These are the basic things which are required. So for this, basic validation is required. After going through that all the fields have been filled, we will be going to this data format validation. This data format validation, it will check that whether the format of the data is correct or not, like the password, the email ID, the pin code, for example, whether it consists just of digits or not. So these are the basic data validation. The data which is entered, it must be checked for the correct and the value, and your code must include appropriate logic to test the correctness of the data. So that comes under data format validation. Now let's see the HTML code for the form validation. For this, similarly, we are having head, HTML, title. This title, where it will visible, we are having a web page. On this, there is a title bar. On this title bar, it will be visible. After that, a title bar, we are having a head tag closed, body tag will be open. In this body tag, after that, we are having a heading which is giving registration form. This is the heading of that particular web page. After that, a form is created. The name of the form is registration. That means now again, wherever I have to refer this form, I can refer it by the name of its form, that is registration. On submit, we are going to return form validation function. Now let's see what is going to happen in this registration and this form validation. We are having UL. UL, as we know, that it stands for unordered list. The list is not being ordered. Numbering is not there. We can have the bullets, the disk, the circle, etc. over here. In this unordered list, the list items are given by the help of this li tag. So this li tag, this is the list item tag. In this, we can have the various list items. Label for user ID. User ID is there and the label. So what will happen? We are having a label user ID. Next is the text box type. User ID will be its name and size will be 12. So what will be the output over here? User ID will be visible as it is, like this, and after that a text box will be given. Now we can enter the value in this particular text box. So what this text box is expecting? This text box is expecting to enter a text box value for the user ID. Second list, that is for the password. So password, it is the label, and input type is equal to password. What will happen if I have the input type is equal to password? Now whenever I will type any value in this particular text box, it will be visible in the form of the asterisk. Like if I am logging into, suppose, Gmail, the password, it is being entered as an asterisk. So same goes for this password as well. So name is the pass ID and size is 12. That means maximum size will be 12. Till 12 only we can give the password. Length of the password can be maximum 12. And the other thing, it is a username. Name is there. Text type, it is the username. Again, after username, a text box will be visible which is asking for the username. After that, address is there. For the address, again we are having a text box and the size of the address has been fixed to 50. That means we cannot have a text box or we cannot have an address more than of the size 50. Another list for this, it is the country. In the country, again we are having a label for the country. Select name for the country, that means we are having a select option. A drop down list will come over here and it will have the name of the various countries. Like the default, we can have the any country, suppose Australia, Canada, India, Russia, USA, anything will be there, any name of the country which we want to give in that option for the drop down menu that will be come over here. Next is for the zip code. For the zip code, again the format is same for all of them. First we are having a label and after that label a text box is to be created. Okay, so for the label zip, text box zip is created. For the email ID, again a text box email is created and the size of the email has been fixed to 50. That means we cannot have a email more than 50 letters, digits, whatever it is being containing. Next, for the gender, we are having the radio button. So for just suppose for just two, male and female, we are having a radio button. As we know that what is a radio button, that means at a particular time only one option can be checked. Next is for the language. Language, again we are having languages like English we are having. So what is the checkbox is there. What is the benefit of having this checkbox? We are having, suppose, this checkbox and it is having this tick. So that means by default this will be ticked over here, and about, then we are having descending, the text area is there and the submit button is there. So this is how a particular web page has been created for entering the details of a particular user. Now next comes what is a form validation. What we were doing over here, see, over here we were just creating this form. Till now what we have done in this whole code, we had just created a form, but validation has not been done. Validation will be done on this form validation function. So now the last task which has been left is to create this form validation function. So this was how this form was created. Now let's see for the form validation function what will happen. So function name was form validation, as we have seen. Okay, we are having a variable. The name of the variable, suppose it is a UID. UID, it stands for user ID. What we are doing over here, we are collecting all the values from those text boxes to these variables like UID, pass ID and all. Now how to collect these values? Values can be created like document dot registration. Now what is this registration? As we can see, this registration, it is the name of the form which we have declared earlier. Okay, so document, that means the whole web page, and from this document we are having the name of the form registration dot user ID. Now what is this user ID? It is the name of the text box that we have declared for that username. See this. This is the user ID, and the name of the user ID, it was given user ID. So this is the name. Like if instead of user ID, I write over here ABC, what will happen? I have to write here document.registration.abc. So this will be the name of the text box from where we have to retrieve that particular value. Okay. Next is the variable pass ID. In this pass ID, we are collecting the value for the password, username, user address, country, zip, email ID, mail, and the registration form, that is for the male, and for that this is for the female. We are collecting all these values. After that, we are giving these various validations, that if one validation is clear, okay, then we will go to another validation. It is not like we are having separate validations. Validations will be all together in a single form. Like if user ID validation, if the user ID get validated, pass ID validation function will be called all letter, all alphanumeric, country select, all numeric, all validate email ID, then validate gender, and then it will be returning false. Now coming to these functions one by one, like user ID validation function. This is the same function which we have called over here, that is user ID validation. Okay, so now we will be having all these functions in detail. User ID validation, it was asking for 3 parameters like UID 5 and 12. Now what was this UID 5 and 12? UID 5 and 12, UID, user ID which was passed, okay, and this 5 maximum minimum values, that will be done. So MX, it's 5, this will be the minimum value for the user ID, and 12, this will be the maximum value for this particular user ID that will be used. What we will do, we will first calculate the length of the user ID. Now to calculate the length of the user ID, length function will be called. So uid.value.length, it will get the length of the user ID which was fed in the form. This length will be stored in uid underscore length. We will check that if the length is 0, that means if we have not entered anything, or if the length is greater than equal to 12, which was the maximum value, or it is less than equal to the minimum value, which is 5. If all these are there, if all these values are there, then alert message will be given to the user to show that what was the problem. It should give user ID should not be empty, or length should be between maximum to minimum. So it will show that the user ID should not be empty and the length should be between 5 and 12. That was the MX and MY value. And it will focus. What this focus function will do, we are having a text box, it will, the cursor will again blink to this particular text box itself. Then it will return the false, and else it will return true. If it returns true, it will go to another function. Let's see this pass ID validation. In this pass ID validation as well, we are having pass ID, max and min. We can have any type of validation which we require, like if I want that the password, it should have a $sign, or the password must start with a capital letter, All these validations can also be put over here, but here we are checking the length of the password. So max minimum, the maximum value which was passed was 7 and 12. So mx was 7 and my it was 12. Now let's see, in this mx was 7 and my was 12. So it will calculate the length of the password by the help of this length function. Again it will check if the length is 0, that means the user hasn't entered anything. So it should not be 0, or it should not be greater than equal to my which was 12, and it should not be less than the minimum value which was 7. If any of these conditions get true, then an alert message will be visible that the password, it should not be empty and the length should be between mx to my. So this is how it will work. Next is the all letter, where we have to check that whether the values which has been passed it is all letter or not. To make such form of validations, we are having a special significance, like this backspaces will be there. In the backspaces, we are having this exponential sign. Since we want to check that whether all values are letters or not, so that will be capital A to Z or small a to Z. So whatever validation is there, we will pass in these square brackets. In the square bracket, the whole case will be written, capital A to Z or small a to Z, and if username dot value dot match the letters, then it will return true. Else it will write that the username must have the alphabet characters only, and then it will again focus to that particular text box, so that user can come to know that this is the problem, okay, and this is the text box where I have to change the values. Next is the alphanumeric. For alphanumeric, we can have 0 to 9, A to Z, anything we can have. So the letters, it should be 0 to 9, small a to Z and capital A to Z. So this is how it will work. It will match the values. This matches the function. It will work with all the letters. If it goes match, then it will return true. If it does not match with this validation rule which we had given, then again it will give an alert message, like the user address, it must have the alphanumeric values, and the focus will again be on the text box on which the data was to be written. So this is how alphanumeric will work. I hope we are able to distinguish between the letters and the alphanumeric. We can have anything in the alphanumeric as well, like country selection. So by default, if it is the value, then alert select your country from the list, as we can see in this form as well, where we had written this code for this country. What was there? In the default value was please select a country. So that means in the list a default value will be there. The default value is please select a country. That means user hasn't entered any data. Okay. So for this, in this validation, in the country select validation, we will select the country if the value is default. That means if the user hasn't entered any value. Default will be there, country focus will be there, and then it will be returning the false. If the value it is not default, then it will be returning true. All numeric means just from 0 to 9. For this, numbers, from this again slashes, dollar, plus, and this exponential sign, that means we can have any of the values, and any number of times these values can be repeated from 0 to 9. It will again match, this match function will check this particular validation from the numbers. If all is the numbers, then it will return true, else it will return the focus and the false will be written over here. So this is how this all numeric will work. Next comes validate email. Now this is a tricky thing to validate an email, how a email to be validated. We have to write a mail format. Now to write this mail format, the email format must be written. To write the email format, again thing will be same, these slashes will be there, okay, these exponential sign and this dollar sign with plus will be there. That means this can be repeated any number of times. We are having W, from W we are having, or we can have a dot, or we can have a plus slash W plus, that means the letters which will be there, we can have any number of those letters. Star means that this can be repeated any number of time, that words can be repeated any number of time. After that, like I am having abc@gmail.com, that @ sign is required. So this is this @ sign. Okay. After that, the name of the domain will be there. For that name of the domain, it will come over here. dot 2 and 3, that means it will come for dot ac.in, like I am having ac.in, that is 2. For 3, like I am having gmail.com, it will come for 3. So this is how a email validation is to be written. And this email validation, it will check for the value match. If it goes with this particular match, it will return true. Else it will say that you have entered an invalid email address, and it will ask the user to enter the another email ID. Now for the gender, two values will be there, um and uf, that is for the male and the female, and the value of x is equal to 0. If male is checked, then x will plus plus. If female is checked, then x again it will be plus plus. Now if the value of x comes 0, that means we haven't selected either male or female. So it will give select male or female, user focus, and it will return false. Else it will alert that the form has successfully been submitted, and then it will return the value true. So this is how this form validation will take place if it comes to the JavaScript programs. Next is the object. Now we are having an event. The event will happen on an object. So every web page, it resides inside a browser window. It can consist of an object as well. So a document object, it represents the HTML document which is displayed in that particular window. Now what are the various objects? Window object, document object, form object, and the form control elements. Now coming to these one by one. Window object, this comes on the top of the hierarchy. If I talk about the hierarchy in a web page, then window object, it is the top of the hierarchy, and it is the outmost element of the object hierarchy. Second one, it is the document object. So every HTML document, it gets loaded in the window, it becomes a document object. Third one, a form object. So everything which is enclosed in these form tag, that becomes a form object. Form control elements like the radio buttons, the check boxes, etc. All these comes into these form elements. Now this is a hierarchy. We are having window on the top, window divided into various parts like history, document, location, frame. Then again link, anchor, form, images is there, document is divided. Form, it is a divide text, text area, password, button, submit, reset, radio, checkbox, select, hidden. All these are various form elements. Like window, so window object, it can be used to create the new window or the dialog boxes. So it can have various things like open, close, alert, confirm, prompt. Like alert, as we have also seen, alert message will be there, like alert and alert message. So this is how it will give the output. For the confirm, we want to continue or not. Prompt message, in the prompt message, what will happen? A text box message will also be given, so where we can have those values, and those values can be retrieved in a variable. Document, it provides access to all the HTML elements which are there. So we can have the form arrays as well. It can have multiple forms we can have inside a document. Like forms 0, that means this is the first form, elements 2 means this is the second element, like 0, 1, 2, this is how it will work. So the value will be returned according to this array value which has been passed in it.